Today it's another Hifiman. You know I love a good Hifiman. It's the 400se, but we're not looking at the standard 400se. Oh no, my friends, we are looking at the Custom Cans out of the UK 400se with SuperGrill mod. I love a mod, I love a hack, I love any time the community goes deep and tweaks and extends the R&D of a manufacturer to find more performance at hopefully incremental added cost. And there's a lot of Hifimans that people love to tweak on, like the HE6 notably. It's a good platform for it. A lot of their products start at a very reasonable price point, and in many cases there are some legit performance improvements to be gained. If you guys don't know Custom Cans, they are out of the UK. Jason, I guess, like the lead designer over there, whatnot's got an awesome YouTube channel, very open about his tips and tricks and mods, and they do stuff like this where they'll build this thing up, for you and send it out to you complete, ready to go, which is how Jason sent it to me. Or if you want, they'll send you just the parts and some instructions, and you can do the mod yourself if you already own a pair of these. So super cool, super flexible, and really interesting. So what does it do? Does it make a difference? First off, I like the HE400s a lot, and their very previous versions. I think I've talked about it as sort of like the planar gateway drug. Was one of the first sort of big open back planar headphones that I had, and it just really opened my mind to that sound profile. And honestly, that's probably where my heart still lies today, is in a big open back planar over almost every other architecture. So getting to put these back on, this is a standard pair that a friend of mine loaned out for comparison sake. But getting to put these back on after some time away, and after listening to lots of many more expensive Hifimans and others planars, I'm just like blown away by the value of these. Like, they're $110 in the States off Amazon, and they just sound great. They're not super easy to drive, so like you will need an amp, so add that cost if thinking about it, but like they're so good for the dollar. So what do you get when you go SuperGrill? Well, you can see there's sort of an obvious visual difference, and Jason's got some intro videos on all the work that was done and all the experimentation, and he will probably speak more eloquently about the hows, the whens, the wheres, and the whys. But what's notable and obvious is that this is a much more open grill architecture, and there's some effort here to control the airflow and in turn sort of improve some of the peaks and valleys, take off some of the edginess and bring in a little more airflow, and in doing so, some better performance. I didn't spend much time, I didn't spend any time on Jason's videos before I listened to this or reading up on it. I sort of got pointed in this direction. They arrived at my doorstep, and I just wanted to listen to them before I got predisposition. So I went A-B, back and forth between these guys, and I will say I did notice a pretty significant improvement. When you think about a mod to a headphone, you're not going to completely change the profile of the headphone. What you're hoping for is incremental, substantial, like incremental improvement, but at a level that it's worth the dollars or time invested. And I think that's the case here. These are more spacious. You get a better sense of, it just feels, the sound feels more expansive. It feels like there's more separation. There's definitely more energy. I definitely heard things felt a little more dynamic. The bass is deeper for sure. They maybe get a little easier to drive, or they get a little louder than the stock version. The timbre, I thought, was just better, honestly. Sometimes on a lower end planar headphone, things like horns and stuff feel like they're just not right. They feel a little like scratchy, or I don't know how to quite explain it, but they don't feel real. They feel kind of fake and plasticky, and that was actually improved. That was a surprise. Some of the stuff like a little more bass with more airflow and a little more energy and stuff I was, you know, sort of expecting, but the actual just improvement in timbre and just sound signature was sort of the surprise win. And they're lighter because these are like steel and this is, you know, printed plastic. So not a huge difference, but a nice little win for a pretty heavy headphone. The other thing that came in the box, so here's the old standard Hifiman cable at this price point. Fine, serviceable. I do love, as you hear me talk about all the time, the 3.5 here, so very easy if you have other cabling options already, great. If you don't, they also make a, this one's balanced. I assume you could probably get it single-ended as well, but I don't know that for sure. But, you know, this is a nice Litz cable, and I then did some A/Bing of both the standard version and the modded version between the two cables, and I did run it with a single-ended, back to a single-ended adapter, so I wasn't like comparing balanced out from an amp to single-ended out from an amp, because that's not really a fair comparison. So really tried to make it as sort of clinical as I can, although I don't get too crazy about that stuff. And I think what jumped out at me, it didn't jump out, but what I noticed was more clarity in the mids. The mids just felt a bit fuller, a bit more robust, and a bit more present. And so when you kind of combine the whole package and you do like their cable, their mod, standard cable, standard headphone, you know, switching back and forth, the standard version started to sound kind of thin and weak and a little flat to me after I'd heard the full package. And going back from the standard package to the Custom Cans, you know, kitted out package, that sense of space and definition and energy was very present. So no placebos here. I think this is pretty cool stuff that they're doing, and for pretty low dollars, especially if you want to do the mod yourself, which I don't think is a super intimidating one. So yeah, anyway, check them out. I'll link to the Jason's videos and back to Custom Cans so you can check it all out. Super fun, super cool, pretty great performance for not a ton of cash, and that in this world is always welcome. All right, until next time, Signcraft.